I'm unmuted now. There's so much happening now in paddling. There's record sales of kayaks, canoes, stand-up paddle boards. The Flatwater Trail Commission has started. The new Mountaineer Trail Network Recreation Authority, which is going to really help the economic development of 15 counties, has got its wheels rolling. More water trails are being planned. So that being said, Try This specializes in bringing people together so they can talk and help and roll the ball forward. We start with our disclaimer that we're not trying to start a group. We don't want to own a group. We want to bring you together and partner should you decide to keep talking. And so in the agenda, each of these 6 people who are going to speak with us deserves to have a whole hour, but they're going to get 5 minutes. And so I'm going to try to bring up the agenda here. So you're going to have the good fortune today to see Mary Wimmer's amazing map of access points on the Monongahela River area. You're going to get to hear from Terrell Ellis, who is one of the best consultants around on the economic impact of small business in rural counties. Kevin Foose is going to talk about how Point Pleasant is just sort of organically becoming a real paddling town. Tommy Bergstrom is going to talk about the importance of river cleanup and of watershed associations. Tommy's from the DEP. Jacob Fowler, who is the new outdoor recreation specialist from the Department of Tourism, will say hello and let you know what they're up to. And Amanda Pitzer is going to let you know how you can connect with the Flatwater Commission and the Mountaineer Trail Network Authority. And then we're going to have the results of the poll, the survey that you filled out, and then have open discussion, which is the most fun part, and see what questions you have for the presenters and what you want to add to the conversation. And at the end, we'll ask that question about how can we roll this ball forward, and do we want to roll the ball forward? We'll see. And before Mary starts, Brittany Barlett, our wonderful new Try This director, is going to tell you about how you can get some money.
Hello, everybody. Brittany Barlett, Try This, West Virginia executive director. I wanted to just let you know that very soon, actually on April 19th, we will be opening up our applications for Try This mini grants. So Try This mini grants are grassroots projects in your community that increase access to physical activity or healthy eating. So, if you wanted to create a paddling club, we've had several mini grants in the past, one of which is going to speak today on paddling in their community. So, we have access we have information about all of our mini grants at trythiswv.org/mini grants, which I just dropped in the chat. You can see all the mini grants that we've had historically, and several of them have been about paddling. Our mini grants are up to $3,000, so those will be due on June 17th. So all of that information will be coming out shortly. I just wanted to give you a little highlight on that because that may be something of interest to you all, because you're all here to participate in paddling, or you're interested in paddling. Maybe you want to expand it or start it for the first time where you are. So just a little information for you all that might be of interest to you. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us for a consult and an idea you might have. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. And Mary, the floor is yours. Take it away.
All right. Well, let me just do my little share screen thing here. I think Kate sent out to you all this document. I've been thinking about this for quite a while, about putting together just kind of what we've been doing up here in the northern part of the state. And I finally did it. You guys gave me the excuse to sit down at the friggin' computer and finally, just pound this out. So I'm not going to read it all to you. I've just highlighted a few things because I want to focus on the map that Kate was talking about. But what we did after I retired, a couple friends and I formed Morgantown Area Paddlers. I think I mentioned this the last time. But we don't have any officers. We don't have a treasury. We don't have 501c3. We don't have bylaws. I've done that in the past, and I didn't want to do it in my retirement. So it's just a very loose, informal group, which I think can serve others around the state as well. If we do need a 501c3, we cooperate with local groups like the Mon River Trail Conservancy, for example. So you find a group to cooperate with if you need a grant that requires 501c3. Anyway, we've been really busy, and busy means, you know, success. You got to keep things going, and we've done a bunch of paddling trips, 167 at this point, averaging 10 paddlers per trip, and they're free and open to the public. We communicate with email and our Facebook page. That's it. You know, nothing more than that, really. I'll talk about this map guide to flatwater paddling in and around Morgantown in just a second. But I do want to mention that our focus is the Upper Mon River Water Trail. And the Mon River, you know, it starts where the Tigard and the West Fork meet, and it goes 40 miles to Point Marion. That's the West Virginia section of the Mon, and that's what we've been working on primarily, 4 locks. And we've worked on river access points. I won't go into that because I don't have time, but suffice it to say at this point, after adding several, we now have 12 public access points in that 40-mile section. They're every 5 to 6 miles or less. So you can do nice shuttles, you can do nice trips with this. Half of them currently have kayak launches. And so we've been very successful in getting those put in. And some of them have informational kiosks. We also did a special separate Upper Mon River Water Trail map, which is a paper map. It was updated in 2019 with a lot of effort. It was a lot of fun, though, doing that. And so, yeah, let me see if there's anything else. So on the next page of this, and again, I hope you all got it. I'm not going to go through this, but I thought I explored this with my friends that paddle with me. I said, what are the advantages of just having a small group, a set of small group flatwater paddling trips, as opposed to the mega event once a year? And so we explored this, and several of us came up with this list. And again, I'm not going to read it because you guys will get it and go through it. But I think it's important to know you don't have to have a great big, huge, expensive, time-consuming planning event. You can do a lot of little things more frequently. And it really does help create the real paddling community when you do that. Also, people have asked about sources of funding. How did we get all those access points and the kayak launches and stuff like that? This is the diverse list of funding sources that we have used up here in the Upper Mon to enable us to do what we've done. So that's there. This is our Mon Water Trail map, just a little handout map here, just to show you. And again, it's on your handout, but it does show the actual Mon River part in West Virginia and where the access points are, which ones are launches and which ones are just regular ramps or whatever. Okay, so that's that document that you all have, and it talks about the kayak lockers too. So now I want to just show you our, and I didn't think, I should have asked Brittany, but I didn't think that that we could do internet at the same time we were doing Zoom. Let's see, I got to get to the play. Where is it? All right, right here. So I just made a PowerPoint slide, and to illustrate our map guide to flatwater paddling in and around Morgantown. This was developed by a Forest Service employee who's great at GIS, and she also is a mapper. So she just said, hey, what do you think about this? And so we put together this map. This is the opening page of the online link that you all have. And across the bottom, it's best if you open it on a computer screen rather than your phone. It's just bigger and nicer to look at. So along the bottom, we have right now 35 access points and 4 locks that are indicated in here. This is within, we're working on about a 2-hour radius around Morgantown. That's what we wanted to cover because that's where our map trips usually go. Now, on one of these, like for example, if I click on Edithboro Park for Star City, this will come up. And now this is highlighted because I've clicked on it. And there'll be a satellite view of here's Star City, here's the Monongahela River, and here's our access point right here. And you can enlarge it if you want to take a look at exactly what you're getting into, which was our reason for doing this. What are you getting into? Do you know about the access point that you're going to? And then there's a little, there's a picture. We always have a picture here. It's different than the DNR site. We have a picture. So this is a Star City. This is our kayak launch. It's only a couple of years old. These are our artistically decorated pilings that we have now, thanks to Eddie Spaghetti and Eli Pollard, a couple local artists. But anyway, it gives you the location. It gives you what kind of an access is it? Is it a kayak launch? Is it a boat ramp? You know, what is it exactly? Tells you if there's parking, and it tells you if there are restrooms there. And then if there's any other special thing that we want the public to know, for example, on the Big Sandy, if it's really rainy and the water's high, that slip going into the river is going to be slippery. So, you know, we give people a warning about that, things that might impact them. Anyway, you can just click on all those different ones and you'll come up with information about each of the access points, and it really has helped. We launched this in May of 2017, and as of April 1st, we had 13,826 views of this map. So people are loving it. They're using it a lot, and we have it pinned to the top of our Facebook page, and it's on all our emails. So that's me. That's it. That's my 5 minutes. I don't know. I probably went.
Okay. All right. That's great, Mary. Unshare. Just hit unshare up there at the top.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.
Great. That was awesome. And I sent everybody the link to that interactive map. You really do want to get on there and take a look at that. It's kind of if we could get something like that for the whole state, wahoo. All right, so next we have Terrell Ellis, who is just a marvelous consultant for a lot of rural towns and counties and so forth. Have had Terrell study what their possibilities are, and we're very lucky to have some minutes with her today. So Terrell, go for it.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've taken about a slideshow that's about 40 slides, and I've taken it down to try to fit something into 5 minutes. So I'm going to be going through some of these rather quickly. I'm the executive director for Advantage Valley. We are a regional economic development organization that promotes the Charleston to Huntington region. And one of the initiatives that we have is something called the Faster West Virginia program. It's designed to be an entrepreneurial development program. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit towards the end. But one of the sectors that we're really trying to promote is the river and outdoor recreation sector. And so what we're trying to do is promote businesses that support outdoor rec. And it really, that's defined as any business that serves people who are outdoor recreating. So it could be anything from, kayak rentals, outfitters, lodging facilities, restaurants, any number of things. And why are we doing this? Why did we target the outdoor recreation sector? Well, it's because we started looking in our region at the top business development opportunities for the region. And what we found is this study was done in 2017, 2018. And what we found, if you look at this top arrow here on the right-hand side, that there is about $24 million worth of demand in the river recreation and outdoor recreation sector in our counties. But unfortunately, if you look right under that, only about $6 million of that demand is being met by businesses in the region. So that means that we're sort of letting almost $18 million of demand expenditures go outside of our region elsewhere. And so we decided that we wanted to try to promote the development of these types of businesses in our region. So we really see this as a great opportunity. And in our region, we have 8 rivers, almost 500 miles of riverfront, 48 fishing and boating access points. We've got a lot of outdoor recreation assets, including the new Elk River Rail and Water Trail, the Coal River Water Trail. Amanda's going to talk about Flatwater, and we've got 2 great flatwater rivers here in our area. And so there's a lot of opportunity to build on these assets. And I just want to mention briefly 3 of the outdoor recreation assets that we have. I know that Hatfield McCoy is not related to paddling, but here's the reality that in 2020, they brought in, they sold about 64,000 they sold 64,000 permits, almost 65,000 permits. And those folks usually come for 3 days. And their permit sales are growing kind of exponentially. And what they're discovering is that they bring people in, but they're looking for other things to do. So and many of their trail systems are near or adjacent to rivers, streams. And so we really feel like there's an opportunity to cross-promote different kinds of business development. And there's an opportunity to really promote the paddling aspect, even to those folks. The other organization or asset that I wanted to mention briefly is the Coal River Watershed Group. Many of you are familiar with them. It's 88 total river miles divided between the 3 river systems. And they really have been leading the way in some of the water restoration cleanup in our region, and they've done a tremendous job. And they've got almost, 1,500 kayakers every weekend using the Coal River. And they have 2 areas along their rail or water trail that you can rent canoes and kayaks. And so they've estimated about 700 paddlers that are visiting their 2 launch sites where they rent facilities. One of the things that they have determined is that there are few services to accommodate the folks that are using the water. And again, that's what we're trying to do, is promote people to develop businesses to serve all of these folks that are using the water systems. And so this is just kind of some pictures of their area. And then thirdly, I wanted to just mention the Elk River Rail Trail. The rail trail is now open for about 28 miles from Heartland to Duck. This is in Clay County up into Braxton County. There's another section, 25-mile section, getting ready to open soon. And then the southern portion in Clendenin to Queen Shoals is going to open this summer. And you're really looking at over 50 miles of hiking, biking, and equestrian use. But related to what we're talking about today, right next to that rail trail is the Elk River Water Trail. And that runs for about 102 miles from Sutton Dam to Charleston. And it is a state recognized water trail. And so the Elk River Trail Foundation, which has been formed, has started up to try to promote both the rail trail and the water trail. And to Mary's point, I loved her maps, and I wish I had thought to include this. I didn't, but you can go to elkrivertrail.org, and I'll put it in the chat when I get done. It's elkrivertrail.org, and there is a map of the water and rail trail system. And we've been working with WVU Extension. I'm sure many of you know Doug Arbogast, and we've been working with him. And there's an interactive map there that shows the location of not only water access points, but different kinds of businesses and different services that are located along the trail. We are also applying for a power grant with ARC to do kind of a trail town planning effort that will do trail town planning for Clendenin, Clay, Sutton, and Gassaway. And it'll identify all of the goods and services and access points and signage and all of those things that you need to have a really effective trail system. And once the trail is completed, we think there'll be about a $4.5 million economic impact annually. And lastly, I wanted to just mention in Clendenin, we did some analysis of of, you know, what it's going to mean when the expected number of trail users come in. And this just goes to show you how water recreation, outdoor recreation can really drive an outdoor related economy. And in the little town of Clendenin, we're projecting, you know, a number of different kinds of businesses in sporting goods, books, restaurants, drinking and eating places, special food services and accommodations. And we're already starting to see the businesses starting to sprout up. Through Faster West Virginia, we just funded a microbrewery that's locating on the rail trail. And there's several B&Bs that have just opened. I just want to briefly mention what Faster West Virginia does. It's listed here in these counties, these 8 counties is where you can access our program. And basically we provide business coaching, entrepreneurial training, and access to a dedicated loan fund for any kinds of businesses that are supporting 6 different sectors that we promote, one of which is businesses to support the outdoor recreation industry. These are our business coaches that can be contacted for support. And this is my contact information if anybody is interested. Oh, that doesn't look very good. Sorry, it should be www.advantagevalley.com. So I'll stop there. There's a lot of stuff I left out, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
That's great. Okay, and all of us who don't live in those 8 counties are kind of wishing that we did, but each one of these people is going to give you ideas for what you could be doing. And I'm guessing that one of these commissions is going to invite Carol to come and do her entire presentation.
Well, no, about that, I'd be happy
just
to.
packed with great information. Okay, I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint because our next person is, this is kind of a change of pace. Our next person is Kevin Foose from Point Pleasant, and this is Point Pleasant, and you can see they got lots of paddling space in Point Pleasant. Try This met the folks from Point Pleasant when they came to a conference one year and got excited about a bike group, went home and started one without even a mini grant, and started with a 25-person bike group and have ended up with sometimes 100 and some people on their rides and an annual festival that's bringing in thousands of dollars to the town. So they did climbing walls, they did trails, and then they opened the Yak Shack. And the Yak Shack is partially sponsored by the city. Try This gave them money to buy some kayaks and get started, and the city donated the building. And this is how you do it. You know, we give little seed money for things and people match it and they get it going. They hired a couple of teenagers to make it work. Got people, they've got a great big lake in Point Pleasant that people can get out on who are a little bit nervous about getting out on the Ohio yet, but they get their feet wet here and rent kayaks. And it is a very well used thing. And then they maybe get out on the Ohio. So I'm going to stop talking here for a minute and get Kevin to talk a little bit, because Kevin is one of the movers of this. Every little town needs some champions. You know, if you want anything to happen in your town, there's got to be somebody who's passionate about it, who rolls the ball. And Kevin, like a lot of us, has a full-time job that occupies him, but he started a Facebook page, the Mason County Yaks, and people can get on there and say, I think I'll do this this paddle today. Who wants to come with me? And pretty soon the newspaper's doing articles about you, and you're leading people into some of your favorite places. So that's enough for me right now. And Kevin, let us know about what's going on in Point Pleasant there.
Well, I think everybody here is covering what we're doing. Just try and get people outdoors, try and get them interested in stuff. The Facebook page, I think one of the great things about it is we try to put some stuff on there that's kind of unusual. So we'll have a video maybe being in the water right beside some big fish spawning, getting kind of aggressive, maybe big turtles coming up, sticking their head out of the water right beside your kayaks and stuff like that. We take trips down through the locks on the Ohio River, which is the Gallipolis Lock, I think 1,600-foot main lock chamber, and they let us lock right through it. So we basically just do different things to get people interested. And if you show, we think if you show people unusual things, they'll get out on the water. Okay, and it does work. The some of the people we have organized events, but we encourage people to go on. There's a lot of people just has maybe 2 people want to go kayak, or they only know 2 people kayaking, and they get on there. Hey, we want to go to Cold River this weekend. Well, hopefully 4 or 5 of them's going to get together and go to Cold River that weekend. So it's kind of like a organically driven community just to get people together, to get them out and enjoying outdoors, exploring activities that they're maybe not used to.
And when we were talking earlier this week, it's just a really nice thing. They have that little flat water pond where people can literally get their feet wet and get used to kayaking. And then maybe they graduate to some of these faster moving trips.
Yeah, well, you know, the Ohio River is a big river, and actually the Ohio River can get pretty mean if there's a storm or high water anywhere. So we've done probably 13 miles in a half hour without paddling on it. So it moves pretty fast. And the waves will get, there's times when the waves will get big enough that you don't want to be out on the water. We try to make sure everybody's informed about safety of getting on the river. Hopefully they get on Crowdale and learn how to paddle a little bit. We also kind of we have several outfitters in the area that that they do learn to paddle events, and we try to steer people to their learn to paddle events. So they actually helps them out, helps everybody out, and gets people enthused about the sport.
This would be an ideal situation for Terrell to be looking at, you know. And I wanted to show people some of Kevin's beautiful photographs of some of the places where you go. Just the small things that you can see when you're, you know, doing a little bit of flat water paddling. And this is a new paddling outfitter that has opened up near Point Pleasant. And I think that it's fair enough to say that this is a result of some of your work, Kevin, and you and your friends who just have made paddling popular and made it possible for these people to have a business.
Well, you know, like the one you just showed there is it started out as a barber shop, and he wanted to expand. It's kind of an unusual business, barbershop with the outfitter in it.
Well, isn't there one that's a feed store and an outfitter too?
Well, we have a feed store that sells kayaks, and we've also got a couple gentlemen that they run just outfitter. They rent the kayak to you and take you on trips, different places. And then if we go into Ohio, we actually got a lot more area in Ohio that we can actually explore too. But no, we explore over the place. We go to Mill Creek, like I said. We've taken trips up on the New River, Golly Bridge, Canal Falls. We've actually went clear down to Cave Run in Kentucky. So,
look at you. You're like a 3-county, 3-state situation, really. There.
Well, it's people out and letting them see what everybody has. And after you get the people involved with the sport, they want to see more. And when they want to see more, it helps Mary out and her group up there. It helps everybody out.
That's right. And isn't there a water trail being developed from Buffalo to Point Pleasant?
Yes,
Is that
they have been working on the water trail. I've talked to a few of the people that's been involved with it, trying to explain to them we need more access points. That's one of the things we have. We are limited on in the county is our access points. We've got 3 actual boat docks, but we got several other places that the landowners don't care if we enter the rivers and streams that way. And then we utilize access points in Ohio too. So, but we need more access points.
And I'm going to encourage you to post your Mill Creek Float series that's coming up, right?
Well, we actually got several things that's going to be coming up. We've been approached to do both a bike ride and a kayak float for suicide prevention, so we got a group working on the bike ride right now. It should, I think, end of June for it, and probably somewhere in the middle of July for the float trip for the suicide prevention.
Well, that's great. Well, I am always impressed with what's going on over at Point Pleasant, and I love the way it just happens organically, you know, and you all are passionate about what you do, and you're sharing it with other people. It's great. Thank you for being on here today, Kevin.
Okay, thank you for having me.
And I owe Tommy Bergstrom something of an apology. You know, when I put my survey together that you all filled out that we'll go over here in a little bit, I left out river cleanup, for gosh sakes. And that's one of the main things that people are concerned about. And so I think we probably get 100% people saying that's very important. So Tommy, your turn. Tell us a little bit about what we can do if we see a big spill, and a little bit about the watershed associations.
Wonderful, thank you. My name is Tommy Bergstrom, and I work for the Department of Environmental Protection here in Charleston, West Virginia. And I'm a Western Watershed Basin and Project WEC coordinator. So I work with water in all degrees of my job. And I'm here to talk to you about watershed groups. So I just like to start off with what is a watershed. And I think that I'm preaching to the choir here, which is fantastic. But a lot of people don't know what a watershed is, and it's simply a drainage basin. And it's important to know where your water drains to and what water is coming to you, so that you know if it is good to paddle on, where the access is, what type of pollution might be in it, who is living there and cares about this water, who's taking care of it. So I always like to start with that. And then because we have these different drainage areas or watersheds within our state, we have different groups that have kind of spawned from these areas. They're usually volunteers, and they get together and meet. Most of them are 501c3 nonprofits, so they can receive grant money. Very few of them have staffs, but some of them do. But they get together because they want to implement water quality improvement projects. They want to see change on their streams, or maybe they have something really pristine that they want to protect. They are usually doing enhancing habitat projects. Many of them, especially nowadays, have developed recreational activities that are associated to get people on the water. And the main thing is that they're environmental stewards in their community. So it's not the state government coming into your community, it's your local folks there being a voice for your community to us, which is incredibly important. So we have a map, and I dropped the link in the chat box here that's more interactive than what I have on my PowerPoint. But this shows where we have groups at in West Virginia. And we have over 40 of them statewide. And you might notice they're broken up by watershed, not by county. So if you click on the blue dot, you can access information about those groups. And I will let you know that we are in the process of updating this and adding a couple new groups, maybe showing that some groups are not active anymore. So we're keeping up with that, and we'll be sharing that down the line. Now, these are broken up into 4 different regions because that's how the basin coordinators are broken up here at DEP. So we're here mainly to foster and support volunteer watershed groups. So anything they're doing, we want to try to help and support them. And I mentioned in my talk last time a little bit more about this. I won't cover it too much, but we're here to help and connect you. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We work with a lot of different facets of DEP, and we love working with the public. So let us know if we can help. And I want to show you a few pictures about what watershed groups are doing in West Virginia, because they do all kinds of different and amazing things. Some of them perform stream monitoring and data analysis. Many of them, if not all, do either adopt a highway, make it shine, or stream cleanups. And guess what? They always need volunteers. And if you're a paddler, you're using the river there that they're trying to help improve, please, please support these folks. They also are creating water access, signage, maps, and trails. They do stream bank stabilization and tree plantings. Lots of educational outreach within their community. Some of them even treat acid mine drainage. They just dump limestone. Others have very expansive passive treatment systems. Many of them have our 319, which is Clean Water Act non-point source pollution grants that I mentioned last time. But like I said, the main thing is they're environmental stewards. People come to them when they see something wrong with a water issue, and then they can then bring it to us. We do host an event, usually every year, sometimes every other year, depending if we're having a pandemic or not, I guess. But we have this event to recognize and support watershed volunteers, and this is through the West Virginia Watershed Network. We did have presented this event a few years ago, which was fantastic. So it's nice to see us come around again and be talking about this. But if you'd ever like to attend, please let me know and we can get you connected. Now, real quickly, because I know I'm probably close to my 5 minutes, I want to just talk to you about some of these programs that watershed groups are using. And they are all located underneath the Environmental Advocate Office. Now, this is just for stream cleanup. So I mentioned other DEP programs that we share as well. But this is located over here under other. So it's not under the Division in Water and Waste Management. But we have a group called the Environmental Advocate, and they're really good at solving community problems or helping you to solve them. So we worked very closely with them, of course, because we are kind of the ear for community sometimes through our watershed groups. Within the Environmental Advocate Office is a program called REAP. And if you haven't heard of REAP, then you must be living underneath a rock, because these guys are out everywhere. They're doing great work in our state, and their motto is keeping West Virginia clean and green. So within their program, they have several different ones, and I'm going to lightning fast mention these to you. I will mention that Sandy Roger is the REAP program director. So if you ever have questions, you can reach out to the basin coordinators, but of course, she is going to be the best person to ask any question about these programs. So first off, if you're paddling along and you see an open dump, that means that people have been dumping there for years, maybe tons of trash. It could be old washing machines, couches, you name it, whatever, tires. You can report that so that we can go out and clean it. We do not know where all these dumps are located at. So we do have a nice online form that you can easily submit this. We also host Make It Shine. These applications have already passed for this year, but they are spring events where we really try to get people out and picking up trash before all the foliage and greenery comes in. They support all the materials that you need and even haul away the trash. All that is needed are volunteers. And Chris Cartwright is the program coordinator for that. If you miss that event and you still want to host some sort of cleanup along a river or along a highway, please contact Kim Smith. She's the program coordinator, and she will essentially supply you with materials needed. Sometimes if it's a busy highway, you can even get signs and safety equipment. So reach out to her. And finally, we do tire collection events. And so if you've been paddling and you've seen areas like this right here, where it looks like little circles underneath the water, we will come out and help you pull those out, get them into boats. Volunteers are always needed, of course, and haul those away and get them out of the stream so that more people want to come paddle on West Virginia streams. So very quick, but if you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I'm sure we'll have some time at the end to speak a little bit more.
Okay, that was great information, Tommy. Thank you. And I just want to tell everybody, this will be, you can immediately, if you want to immediately watch this again, go to the Try This West Virginia Facebook page, and it will be there on Facebook Live. We will also make it into a YouTube posting. And Try This will make all of the information that we have available to anybody who wants it. You know, so our next person, I'm very happy to say that we have a Jake Fowler with us today. And Jake is the new outdoor recreation specialist with West Virginia Tourism. And he's getting to know people. He came into his job during the pandemic. And so a lot of you are new to him, but he'll be able to get out soon. So Jake, say hello and tell us a little bit about what tourism's doing.
Thank you, Katie, for the nice introduction. So like she said, I with the Department of Tourism, and really my job within the tourism department is really to focus on the great outdoor recreation assets within the state. I didn't know some of the projects that we have going on. I didn't know if you hear this morning, we announced the Ascend West Virginia, which is our remote worker program, really focusing on the outdoor recreation assets within the state. And my job is really to work with different business partners, different groups, and really getting the word out of all the different outdoor events, the activities, and just getting not only people from outside the state coming, but our own residents, and getting them active, getting them to use these great resources that we had. And please reach out. I'll put my email in the chat after I'm done talking. And if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to talk.
Thank you so much, Jacob. I think that you can be really, the Department of Tourism is, you know, reaches so many people. Once maybe you would be part of a group that would begin to get together a statewide calendar or any of those sorts of things. You know, I think we had in the survey that we did, we found that there are a lot of people, and this is a very knowledgeable group, who are willing to review lists of paddling groups, of access points and so forth, and kind of crowdsource it. And so I think we can roll all three of these lists along as we go. Okay, so the next person, and not by any means the least, Amanda Pitzer is involved in darn near everything that you can imagine related to paddling here. And she is a member of the Flatwater Commission and involved with the Mountaineer Trail Network Recreation Authority. She directs the Friends of the Cheat and has been just a major force in paddling in West Virginia. And so, Amanda, you deserve, as everybody here does, you deserve an hour, but you get 5 minutes. So tell us what you can.
Thank you, Kate. And Kate mentioned a few of the endeavors that I have added to my resume over the pandemic. I have been appointed to the Flatwater Trail Commission, so I'll talk about that first. And then I'm also going to try and cover a little bit about the Mountaineer Trail Network Regional Authority. But as you can see, there's another job that I've taken on during the pandemic, which is being Emmett's mom. So bear with me as I give my presentation. He should be sleeping, but he is so excited about flatwater paddling in West Virginia that he has stayed awake now an hour and a half past his nap time. So without further ado, Kate, thanks for the introduction. I'm going to talk first about the Flatwater Trail Commission. And I know there's probably a lot of questions about that. And I think when we started the webinar, I did see that 2 of my fellow commissioners were present. So I think that they're still here. So first thing to do is to introduce who the commissioners are. Of course, there is myself, Amanda, and I represent Preston County. And then also on the Zoom, I think we had Bill Curry, who is our chairman and really the the driving force behind the creation of this commission. And Bill is from Kanawha County, and of course he is affiliated with the infamous Coal River group that Terrell talked about a little bit earlier. And then I believe John Burchett was also on the Zoom, and he represents Mingo. And then the two other commissioners are George Levitsky, he's Marion County, and John Wilson, who is Harrison County. We do have a group email for the commission, but right now I'm just going to share my email in here because I'm not sure if Bill is ready for emails from everyone. So I just put my email in the chat. So if you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. The main mission of this commission is to try and promote more flatwater paddling in West Virginia for both increased livability, making our towns, better places to live, but also really for tourism and economic development. So we are working under the umbrella of the Department of Commerce, working closely with the Division of Natural Resources. They're kind of our keeper right now. And I use that word keeper because myself and Bill are used to running non-government organizations and just doing stuff. And this commission is a government commission, so we have to obey Sunshine Act provisions. So we have to post our meetings, post our agendas, and be very deliberate in our process. So Bill and I are learning, and tomorrow night is our second meeting. Oh, Emmett's upset about that. But so I'm going to share the agenda. I'm going to try and share my screen here and show you what our agenda is. Here it is. Let's see if I can share. So tomorrow night, we do have two guests. Actually, we have several guests, but two guests that will be speaking that I think this group will be very interested in. Oh, I'm sorry, Emmett. Specifically Tim Sadowski, who is the chairman of the West Virginia Recreational Trail Advisory Board. He works for DOH, and Mark Scholar, who is really, as I understand it, the funding guy behind that program. So you can tune in to our, you can watch these meetings, and actually, that's the one thing I didn't prepare is I don't have the YouTube link, but I do want to show you that after our meeting, we will share the feed to the West Virginia. I'm going to type it in here. If you look up on Facebook, West Virginia Flatwater Trails, sorry, there's a new Facebook page, and you can keep track of what we're doing there. And you can also tune into the meetings. One of the things that I'm personally very interested in talking to DOH to tonight is to ask a little bit about signage. I know that that's really a unifying theme that I've been hearing from some of our contacts is assistance with signage and maybe looking to develop a universal signage system for our water trails. So like a ski resort, if you go out to a river, you know what to expect. And that's some of what Mary talked about, was really working with, so people know what they're getting into, so they have a good experience. So signage is one. Also, something that's interesting to me is, DOH has a lot of right-of-ways along bridges along rivers. So how do we work with them to develop access points there? The questions go on. So I also need to talk about the Mountaineer Trail Network Authority. So I am going to switch gears. I'm sorry, Emmett. He's really a sweet baby. He's just not happy today. So here's a little graphic about the Mountaineer Trail Network. Sorry, buddy. So the Mountaineer Trail Network Authority. This was a group that was created by the legislature in West Virginia in 2018, and then revised to include 5 more counties in 2019. So you should be seeing the map of the current footprint of the authority. And listed below that are our current board appointees and some pending appointments. So you might know some of these folks in your community, and you can plug in with them. So just to try and be very brief, and I'm sorry, Emmett's it's stressing me out a little bit, but the Trail Network Authority is really a CVB for our top trails. And it's not only the CVB portion that has people excited,
but the group can offer liability protections to participating private landowners. So there's a couple really important roles that this group can fill. One being that private landowner piece, and then one being connecting this whole region as a region that we can market for visitation, for people to travel. So this group is very messy right now. We're in that messy sausage making era where we're figuring out what we are and what we have discovered, because we weren't really sure, but we know that we are a quasi-government development authority. So we have been created for economic development. So with that in mind, I think you guys will have lots of questions, and I'm just gonna stop. Maybe Emmett will calm down and he'll be thrilled to answer your questions. But I know that was a 10,000 foot view because these are big regional initiatives that are a bit organic at this time. And Kate mentioned in the beginning how there's so much good energy happening around paddling and specifically trails. Of course, Jake just mentioned West Virginia's remote worker program. So we have a lot of good stuff to collaborate on. And unlike Mary, I can't say no to anything. So I'm here to help. So let me know your questions. Let me know how the Flatwater Trail Commission and the Mountaineer Trail Network Regional Authority can help your projects, and go for that Try This money. It's powerful money. And I will surrender my time as soon as Emmett's about ready to fall asleep.
Well, I would say that was a superwoman performance. Amanda, I am really impressed. Wow, she does it all. All right.
Yeah, I just like to say that I handle my dog a lot less effectively than Amanda just handled a baby. So that was very impressive.
Yes, yes.
I see a potential troublemaking cat behind you, Brittany. So I was waiting for the kitty to attack the screen.
Yeah, I won't tell you what my dog was doing while everyone was talking and I was smiling through it. So.
Okay. We're gonna talk very briefly about the survey that we had you fill out. This is a very knowledgeable and involved group, let me say. All right. Predictably, 100% of the people who were surveyed thought it's extremely important to promote water safety, and very important to create and post a statewide calendars. Somewhat less, didn't get that universal claim there, but very strong. And the statewide map of access points got the next highest score, and getting more youth involved in paddling is something that people are really concerned about, creating river signage. And then the question I left off, keep West Virginia waters clean. I think we can give that 100%. The last time we did a survey, it got 100%. And so there was that. And then we asked people what they were already working on. And I'm going to send this survey to all of you, so we don't need to go through it in great detail, but you can see a lot of people are already working on some of this. And part of the survey will tell you who is working on what. So that should be useful to those of you who work with Flatwater Trails and any of the other groups. We wanted to let you know that we have started making a list of paddling groups. And this is what our AmeriCorps member, this is one of the things that this person can work on. But there are a lot of them. And we've just, I think, begun to scratch the surface. And a good number of you agreed that we could send this list to you, and that you would take a look at it and say, oh, you missed this one, or you missed that one, and that's what we do with crowdsourcing. And then we'll get a list that somebody will adopt and check and publish. But it's very clear that just basic information is needed by both the government groups and by private people, you know, who are trying to schedule their event and don't know if 3 other groups are having an event the same weekend. And so having said all that, now we'll get to the part that I think a lot of people are waiting for, which is this is open discussion time. And we have now a half an hour left. We'll save about, you know, between 5 and 10 minutes for talking about next steps. But anybody who has something to say, love to hear from you. I think we have the chairman of the Flatwater Commission with us and other members and people who are just, you know, who have a question or a comment they want to make. So floor is open.
I think my question would probably be to Tommy. We have 4 locks and dams up in the Morgantown area, and the trash that collects behind them is phenomenal. And what happens to that trash? The Corps flushes the trash through the locks and it continues on to Pittsburgh. We have worked and worked and worked to try to get the Corps to allow that trash to be collected and disposed of, and to no avail. So it's a huge problem. You know, you talk about bringing people in for tourism and you say, you know, look at all this ugly, yucky trash where we're boating. So is the state involved in this at all? And if not, could they get involved in this?
Yeah, Mary, maybe you could drop your email and send it to me by chat again so that I have it. I'll
Sure.
CC you and I'll send an email out about that. I know that we have talked about this before at the West Virginia Watershed Symposium and with other groups, that it is a big issue. And if I recall correctly, there's a lot of safety concerns about getting that trash out without anybody getting endangered. And I think that that was the main concern. I'm sure each lock is a little different and water levels, you know, so let me dig into that and I'll CC you so that you can stay in the loop.
Great, thank you.
I'm very interested in signage. It's something I've been working on for a long time. And I'd really like to hear where we stand on that to get some kind of uniform signage.
This might be a good place for, oh, well, there you are, the Flatwater Trail.
Yeah, I don't know if Bill wanted to respond, but I would say it is universal signage is certainly something that's on the minds of the Flatwater Trail Commission. Like as I said during my brief presentation, it should be like a ski resort, right, where you know what these symbols are and it conveys for people to understand it. Now, as far as uniformity, I'm not sure how, I can't even say if that's even been discussed or is on anyone's mind besides the group here. But if that is a banner that the FTC can carry to DOH and DNR, that's what we need to do. That's why we're here. Sorry about this.
The Elk River Trail Association is interested. We're not quite sure who to contact or how many agencies we have to contact. The DNR says, yeah, go for it. But then we look at the 97 miles of the Elk, and I see that Braxton County isn't even on your list, and hopefully that will change soon. But it would be nice to have some kind of uniformity, but not 3 years down the road. It's something that's an issue in Braxton County, and you laugh, but people have gotten lost on the Elk River. They don't know where they are. They don't know what bridge they're on. They don't know where to go to get picked up. And I chuckle, but it is a situation that we've run into this summer.
Hey, Lois, this is Terrell. Nice to see you again. That's part of our power grant that we're going after, is to establish where that signage is going to be and what it looks like. And I know you probably don't want to wait that long, but that is something, you know, that we would be looking at starting in the summer, fall, if we are funded. And if we're not funded, we have the other resources from the Benedum Foundation to look at that. So signage is part of that. planning work that we're planning on doing.
Thank you, Terrell. I'll check that off my list because it's been making me crazy.
You don't have to check it off your list, but it's on our radar, and I hope that we'll get funded so that we can create a coordinated signage plan for the water trail and the rail trail.
We did get approval from Jimmy Walker with the DNR, but somehow it just was a little bit casual, and I was concerned that maybe we needed to go a little further. So, well, thank you. And I'm interested. So
yes,
definitely. Put me on your list.
Definitely.
Okay.
I see that Zach Brown from the DNR is on the call. And Zach, I don't know if you saw Mary, the access point map that Mary Wimmer showed at the beginning of the session. And once you get online and look at that, it's got Google Earth, and you can kind of come in and actually look at the access points. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh boy, wonder if we could, make a goal of having something like this for the whole state. I don't know if you saw that, but we'll begin to crowdsource some of this, or we can, if the group wants to, and gather up lists of access points, and kind of that rolls the ball forward a little bit. What are your thoughts on that, Zach?
I really did like what Mary showed there. I thought it would be very useful. I think the DNR is currently in the process of redesigning our website because it's pretty ancient right now, and so we're getting a new look, and we're hopeful to have that online this summer. The hunting and fishing map, I think I'll need to talk to my GIS staff and see what we could do to link pictures like that to our current map, because at least for the lakes, for the streams, it could be very useful to have a picture, because a lot of them are just going to be a dirt path over a bank, but some of them will be a 4-lane boat ramp. So I mean, it's part of what we might run into a little bit here is that you all or different entities have access points that are outside of our domain, so to speak. And I wonder if a more overarching site might be, dedicated to paddling, would be hosted either as a joint project with the Flatwater Trail Commission, or possibly even bringing tourism in on it, and because I think it would serve a very good purpose, and it's not just DNR's hunting and fishing sites that we have. It's something that could be dedicated more just to paddling and fishing. So I mean, does that make sense as a way that we could explore moving forward with that?
Absolutely.
Zach,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, now Zach, as a kayaker, let me say that I love those dirt paths over the hill, and especially if they're close to a parking lot. Don't think we have to wait for a $500,000 facility to get an access point, because I find most of the time those little paths easier to navigate than some big facility. So as a kayaker, I love those dirt paths.
Well, these are the kinds of connections that we hope to see coming out of these conversations. I mean, you mentioned the DNR, tourism, possibly getting together with Mary's GIS person and the Flatwater Trail Commission. A conversation like that might grow out of this conversation, and something can happen.
Right, and Ann's with the Forest Service Act, so that's where she got her GIS, skills. So that would be another agency working, with the group here. But there are lots of sites, as you know, that are great access for for kayaking and canoeing, whether they be launches or whether they be the gravel path or the boat ramp. I love them all myself, Lois. But they're not on the DNR site, as you know, because they don't stress the fishing and hunting aspects. So it would be nice to do it somewhere. I'd love DNR to actually incorporate this as part of the Department of Natural Resources, but I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Well,
It's
I'll say I'm a little limited in that I have to have a lease agreement before I feel comfortable advertising that there is public access in a place. And, you guys may have spots that, yeah, we've got a deal with the local landowner and he or she lets us go and doesn't care. But for it to be an official DNR access site, I need to have some sort of legal documentation. And that's typically in the form of a lease.
We tried to get we had a Mon River rail trail sign that got missing. So we got that replaced. And when we got it replaced, it was to the Van Voris site, which we also have a kayak launch there. And so we tried to get the Department of Highways to add a water access symbol on the post where there's the 2 miles to the rail trail. And they said they wouldn't do that. They didn't have the symbol or they just didn't do that. So the DOH is going to be a player in this, and they're going to need some type of directive from somebody to get their act together, because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it by themselves. Ella's been very frustrated, as have I, at just getting a simple little sign saying right along with the rail trail that there's water access, and they wouldn't do it. So
Yeah.
Go commission.
I will ditto that. The DOH has been not very helpful.
Well, we're running up on 4:30 soon, and this has been a very stimulating conversation and a whole lot to follow up on. We will try to assemble all the information that we have and send it out to the people who were signed up for the call, and anybody else who's listening on Facebook Live. If you would like to have that sent to you, send your email address to director@TryThisWV.
I just want to thank Try This West Virginia for organizing the conversation. You guys do such a great job. I appreciate you bringing everybody together. And I love learning from you. My name's Evan Young, and I started a paddleboarding business in West Virginia. So I sure appreciate and thank everybody for the efforts they've made to create a wonderful recreation space for us. And we all have different goals we want to achieve with paddling, and mine a lot is with prevention with Putnam Wellness Coalition. So just to recap the importance of paddling for a health perspective, we're building resiliencies in youth. It's an important aspect of what we're doing, which is going to help us out a lot, and just building healthy relationships. So
Thank you, Kate, for hosting this. We appreciate it. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks
Have a
to
great
all of our
evening.
presenters. It was great.
Yes, thank you.
And this guy finally fell asleep. He's out.
oh, good job with that.
Thanks, everybody. I hope that we're growing our next stewards of river lovers and badass boaters and all that stuff. So Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kate and Brittany and everybody who participated. And yeah, good job.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And thanks, everybody.
See ya.